starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Lisanti, the Director of Sales at Beere&Purves. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar. This is our annual medical carrier portfolio refresh that we've been doing the past several years, out with the old, in with the new. There's a lot of information here, and we will be emailing everyone these slides. My tip is it's a great reference document, but after today, information is very fluid. So anytime you need specific information, please reach out to the Beere&Purves sales team that you work with, and we can always make sure that you have the current information. Especially on underwriting topics, you'll see that there's a lot of promos on this presentation that will be ending, etc. So having said that, everyone is on mute, and I'm going to go ahead and get started, but we would welcome questions. Just type them into the chat box. I'm going to address them at the end. If we run out of time and can't address your specific question, your specific sales rep will get back to you with whatever your question may be. All right, so today's agenda is legislation, the portfolio and plan benefits, pharmacy information, networks, CANOPY Health, if you're in Northern California, underwriting, rates, and commission. So as we get started here, there's obviously been a lot of conversation on the legislative side of things, and kind of a lot of ebb and flow and starts and stops. What we do have in play right now is President Trump did hand out executive orders. There's been 5 recently that would affect the medical insurance world, and 2 of the 5 are effective immediately. So those 2 are listed on the screen now. The first one is the big topic of ending cost-sharing subsidies. And so I want to remind folks that for people on the exchange, the individual exchange, if they qualify, there's 2 subsidies they can get. One is to help them with the actual premium, the cost of the medical care, the cost of the medical premium every month. And then the second subsidy is actually the one we're talking about, which is the cost sharing reduction subsidies, which helps people that qualify when they actually use the care to help support their deductibles, co-insurance, things like that. So as far as the member is concerned, you cannot, by law right now, take away the premium subsidies. Those are in effect by law. And also, as far as the member is concerned, they will still get these cost-sharing reduction subsidies. What happened with this executive order is that President Trump is no longer, the federal government rather, is no longer going to subsidize the insurance company that still has to provide these subsidies to the members. So the member themselves are not affected. They still get the premium and the cost sharing reduction subsidies. It is the insurance company that's no longer going to be reimbursed. So as a result, ironically, what happens is, of course, the insurance company is going to have to increase their premiums on the silver plans that these subsidies apply to compensate for the subsidies that the insurance company no longer gets. The irony is the end result is going to be the federal government is actually going to have to pay more as a result of getting rid of the cost sharing subsidies because the premium increase and they provide premium subsidies to everyone. This will affect the middle class as well as insurance companies, and of course it'll affect us big picture. For those insurance companies that are heavily involved in the exchanges, will have a bigger picture financial hit than those that are not. The second item on the slide is, again, effective immediately. It is the prescription contraception executive order. Now, we had some case law where some employers were able to win and state that they had a moral or religious objection to the contraception that was mandated by ACA. As a result, they won that case law and they were able to file with the HHS to not have to provide that. What this executive order does, it opens up to more employers that can now file for that moral or religious objection. And they don't have to do this official filing with HHS anymore. However, if you focus on small group 1 to 100 fully insured in California, this executive order will not affect you because the state of California mandates that the plans filed with the state of California, which is the 1 to 100 fully insured plans, have to cover contraception at 100%, just like it is under the old ACA. The next 3 executive orders are pending. So these are executive orders that the regulators are looking at and are supposed to respond and let them know their advice on what to do in these situations. The first one you'll see, it allows small groups to buy association plans. Now, we've had association plans before, and it's not like the whole market tanked and went to an association plan. What an association plan is that groups can get together for, if they're in the same line of business, and buy an association, which would be large group plan designs. They wouldn't have community rates, and they wouldn't have to have the ACA, essential health benefits, etc. As a result, the concept would be, if the pool was large enough, they would have lower premiums because the plans aren't as rich. So what's happening is the Department of Labor has to look into this and give guidance back, and you can see the dates there on when that should happen. The middle item here is extending the short-term policies. So President Obama, right before he left office, decreased the time frame you could have a short-term policy down to 90 days. What this executive order would do is extend it back to a year, and it would make it renewable. So if I'm young, I don't think anything's ever going to happen to me, I could buy a short-term policy, keep it for a year, and renew it, and it would help me because assuming I don't ever need care, of course, because the premiums are lower because they don't cover the ACA mandated benefits. So that's why the premium's lower. Now, 3 secretaries have to look into this and provide guidance. That's the secretaries of HHS, Treasury, and Labor. And the last executive order we'll cover today, which is also pending, is about health reimbursement accounts. This, of course, could affect us. The thought is to make HRAs more attractive. So you can see the items that this is proposing: to make contributions tax deductible, to make the funds available for premiums in addition to when you actually use the care, as well as it would allow not just group plans, but individuals as well. So again, those 3 secretaries, HHS, Treasury, and Labor, have to look into it, and they've got a longer time to provide guidance on this one. All right, now we're switching gears away from executive orders to the bipartisan proposal, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it was good news. It felt that the Republicans and Democrats came together and tried to work on some healthcare legislation. This is what was proposed. However, it's kind of stalled right now, so that's not why I'm going to spend a lot of time. A lot of energy is being spent on the tax reform that was announced today in detail. So I will say that the irony is the first thing that you would see on this bipartisan proposal is to actually put back in the cost-sharing subsidies for those insurance companies. And that is, the irony is the executive order just took it away, and this one would actually put it back in for 2 years. This proposal, per the CBO, would actually lower the deficit by $3.8 billion because of the details involved, but it wouldn't greatly affect the number of people that were insured, unlike the recent Republican proposals that they were trying to get passed earlier. All right, now we're switching from federal to California. These 2 pieces of legislation have passed in California. They're both related to pharmaceuticals. So the first one you'll see takes effect in January 2019. And basically what this is stating is, we've all seen the prescription drug costs have increased, skyrocketed sometimes for certain drugs. And this is stating in the state of California, if a pharmaceutical company is going to raise their rates for a drug more than 16% over a 2-year time span, they have to tell the state of California and the healthcare carriers within 60 days, and they have to basically explain why they're having to raise the rates so much. Did a cost of manufacturing, did a cost of an ingredient increase, etc. The other piece of this legislation is the carriers now in the state of California have to give the state of California regulators, the DMHC and the DOI, information in their rate filings about how much the carriers spend on prescription drugs, specifically generic versus brand, specialty, etc. So it helps the state get data on what costs are and what's being spent where, so that when the pharmaceutical companies come and raise their rates, they have something to kind of go off of. The second item, again, California legislation that has passed, takes effect in January 2018. What this is if a generic becomes available, right now what typically happens is the pharmaceutical company starts giving a coupon or discount to the member taking a certain prescription drug to encourage them to stay on the brand drug and not move to the generic. However, they only give that discount to the member consuming the prescription, not the insurance company that's paying the bulk of the insurance cost. So this legislation states that if you give the discount, that's fine, but you have to give it both to carrier and consumer, and you can only do it if step therapy doesn't work for the other drug, or prior authorization is required for the certain drug. Then you can give a coupon, but it applies to the member and the insurance company. All right, so now we're changing gears to the 2018 ACA community rate changes. So I think a lot of people are in the know on this concept, but I think a lot of us were missing a key point until we're seeing these 2018 renewals. So the concept was, part of ACA in 2018 is to increase the children's rates to better reflect the cost of child health care. So if you think of when you have a newborn and a toddler, they're constantly going to the pediatrician. And so the rate for them may need to be higher than it was previously. And that's the piece we really haven't been talking about. I think what we've all been talking about is really they wanted to provide a smoother transition from when you turn 20 to 21, so that wasn't just this huge jump. You'll gradually be paying higher rates throughout the years so that it's not this huge switch when you turn 21. So what I'm referencing is the fact that prior to 2018, what insurance companies did is they took their 21-year-old premium and they took a percentage of that to determine what the 0 to 20-year-old premium was. And that was 0.635% of a 21-year-old premium. So you can see down here that assuming the 21-year-old premium was $403, that 0.635% was $256 for a kid 0 to 20. However, starting in 2018, I think we're all used to there's going to be one premium bucket for 0 to 14, but they're still basing that 0 to 14 premium off of a 21-year-old, but at a higher benchmark. So it's a 0.765%. So the example down here shows using that same 21-year-old premium of 403, but taking a higher percent of that, the 0.765%, you end up with the 0 to 14-year-old premium at 308 versus a 256 that it would have been the year before, assuming the 21-year-old premium was the exact same. So you'll see that it's not just the 15, 16, 17-year-old child that's paying a higher premium in 2018, but actually the lowest bucket, the 0 to 14, is starting at a higher rate. And this may be a better visual for you, and maybe this is what you're seeing in your 2018 renewals. Here's the 2017 ratio, the 2018 ratio, so you can see where it started, what I've already discussed, and that percent increase is about 20+%. At 15, it goes higher, 16, 17, 18, etc. And you can see that these poor 20-year-old children are now going to see a 52% increase on what the base rate was for their premium. So in these 2018 renewals, we keep talking about how in small group, the trend is very low, renewals are very low, but for people with children, they might disagree with you and say, I'm really getting hit on my children's premiums are going up much more than the employee only rate is and my spouse's rate. So that's the piece I don't think that we were really discussing too much. So I want to make sure everyone is aware of that. What I think everyone is familiar with now, or in case you're not, in 2018, we are going to have different age brackets, and it was 0 to 20, but it's moving from one age band to 0 to 14, and then a separate increase from 15 to 20. So your 15-year-old is going to have a different premium from your 16-year-old, etc. The good news is they still left in the fact that you're only charged for your 3 oldest children under the age of 21. And here's an example of this. So assuming in 2017 methodology that the employee-only rate was 515, the spouse was 503, they had 4 children, and the 4 children, or the first 3 children, I should say, under 20, were all charged the same premium, that 256. But the 9-year-old, the 4th child, is free. That totaled $1,788. Using the same employee and spouse rate, but the 2018 methodology, you'll see that the children under 20, your 18-year-old's paying more than your 15-year-old, which is paying more than your 12-year-old. However, your 9-year-old is still free, and this all totals up to $2,032. So it's a big increase, but it's really all coming from the children, not the the adults in the group. All right, so this is more reference for you. This just lists every year the minimum deductible for HSAs goes up, and so you'll see what the 2018 amounts are, as well as the out-of-pocket maximums for standard plans is different from HSA plans, and HSA contribution limits. We're all used to that changing every year, but here's the amounts. And then per ACA every year, the reason why we have this webinar is new actual value calculators are released by the federal government. The carriers all have to run their current portfolio into the new AV calculator and see what happens. And if their plan design gets knocked out of one of those 4 metallic tiers, they have to adjust the benefits. And that's why we're always like, why did this deductible go up and that copay go down, or vice versa? The plan designs look very odd. They're just manipulating the benefits to keep that plan within a metallic tier. Now, this is not new for 2018. This hit in 2017, but just a reminder for all of us why our HSA plan designs for the lower deductibles are so odd now. What we had was California legislation conflicting with IRS rules for HSAs. And what I mean is the California legislation, AB 1305, said you can't have a deductible higher than $2,000 for an individual, except for bronze plans. However, the IRS rules for HSAs said you can't have a deductible that is greater than $2,700. So we have this conflicting. One says you can't be greater than $2,000. The other one says you can't be greater than $2,700 within a family. And so as a result, it leads us to these odd plan designs that we're pretty used to throughout this year. However, just a quick reminder, some carriers handle these HSA plan designs differently than others. So here's the Anthem HSA 2000 plan design. And most carriers function this way. And so you see that on the plan summary, you're going to have the 3 deductibles, $2,000, $2,700, $4,000. And what that means is an employee only on this plan would have a $2,000 deductible. The other 2 amounts mean nothing to that employee only. However, if there's a family of 4 enrolled on the same exact HSA plan, the $2,000 means nothing to them, and one family member would never pay more than this $2,700. That is the embedded individual deductible for this HSA plan. However, all 4 members get to contribute towards the family deductible of $4,000. So you can have one person hit $2,700 and then they're set, or you could have 4 family members hit $1,000 each and they've accrue together to hit the family deductible $4,000. I want to point out that UHC and HealthNet have a different style of plan design. And the way it works, you'll see there's only 2 deductibles listed here. So same thing, employee only on this plan has a $2,000 deductible because that's California rule. However, the family of 4 has just one $2,700 family deductible. One person can hit it, or 4 people in the family can accrue to hit it. So you'll see the family deductible on the UHC plan is much less, which is $2,700 for 2018 versus the $4,000 on the Anthem or the other carriers' plans. So again, family would hit $2,700 one person, or they could each have $675 to hit the family deductible of $2,700. The weird thing on this plan, though, however, is although the deductible is aggregate, everyone chips in together, the out-of-pocket max is embedded. So that person that hits $2,700 and they go into co-insurance, the individual out-of-pocket maximum is $6,500. The family is $13,000. All right, so now we're switching gears. I know there's a lot of data on these next slides, so they're good reference materials, and I'm going to kind of point out the things that either a different or a positive, or maybe just a little thing to be aware of with the different carriers. So we're going to start with the Aetna plan offerings, and you can see they've got the traditional plan designs, the PPO plan or the MC plan, which is what they call their California 1-100 small group PPO, the HSA, they have HMO, ACO, and what I want to point out, however, is in 2017, Aetna no longer offers a full network Platinum PPO. So the best full network PPO plan with Aetna that you can get is a gold or lower. What's new in 2018 is they only offer one full network HMO plan in 2018, and it's this gold 25, 55, zero deductible plan. So if you want a full network Aetna HMO, it's going to be one plan design, the Gold. And in 2018, they are no longer offering an indemnity plan. So if a member lives totally out in the boonies, they no longer have that indemnity to enroll on. Anthem has the traditional plans, PPO, HSA, HMO. What we want to point out with CalChoice is, no, unfortunately, we did not get a full network PPO with Anthem through CalChoice. However, what they did do is they enhanced the benefits, because not only did we not have a full network PPO in CalChoice, the benefits weren't that attractive to that owner that was actually probably the one taking the PPO. So what Anthem did in 2018 through CalChoice is they have gotten rid of the 3 office visit copay max, so meaning the first 3 times you went to the doctor you had a copay, but the 4th visit you had deductible coinsurance. Now in 2018, every office visit is going to be a copay. They also lowered out-of-pocket maximums on the PPO plans and EPO plans, as well as lowered or removed RX deductibles on their plans. So the plans we have with Anthem on the PPO and EPO through CalChoice are more attractive than they were in 2017. We still have the EPO plan with Anthem, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. The big news for CalChoice, I want to make sure everyone knows, is aware, that we are going back to having rate parity and benefits with Kaiser. So the Kaiser Direct rates and benefits will match exactly the CalChoice Kaiser rates and benefit offerings, just like they do currently with Sutter Plus Health and Western Health Advantage. So again, the Kaiser rates and benefits in 2018 through CalChoice will match Kaiser Direct. So we can go back to selling CalChoice all day long, even if it's 100% Kaiser group. Why not sell it through CalChoice? Because then if they have a new hire down the road that doesn't like Kaiser, you've got that flexibility. And you can have one person on, Anthem and 99 on Kaiser through CalChoice, of course. With HealthNet, you see the plan offerings. I just want to remind everyone there's this odd new plan type that came out a year ago called HSP with HealthNet, and everyone wants to know what that stands for. It's Health Service Plan. It works like an EPO. With United, they too have the same traditional type plans. They too have an EPO called through a Navigate network, and we'll talk more about that in a few slides. But we did list, I know this is a 2018 webinar, but just for reference, we did list the top selling plans for 2017 per carrier on here. So you can see Aetna had a top selling HSA 4800. Anthem's top selling plan was either a silver PPO or platinum PPO. CalChoice, of course, was Kaiser or Anthem PPO-A. HealthNet's Smart Care dominant in Southern California. And United Healthcare sells a lot of PPO, either the gold or silver. All right, so this topic is about when can you sell dual networks, meaning a full and narrow, and when can you put different metallic tiers together for the different carriers. There's actually no real change for the metallic tiers, but just as a reminder, with Aetna, they're very flexible. You can pick any full and narrow plan design, any metallic tier. You can put a platinum with the bronze. They don't care. They just want you to pick 5 plans maximum. And our B&P underwriters will come back to you in underwriting, even if you're offering one plan now. It's good to just pick some other 4 plans or a few plans to give the group flexibility. Again, if during the year you need to make some changes for new hires, etc. With Anthem, this is a promo, so it's been a long promo. They keep extending it, but be aware. Anthem will let you sell a full and narrow HMO plan side by side. Technically, this is supposed to end March 15th, not on the PPO side, just the HMO side. But they will let you sell any combination metallic tiers. CalChoice, no change there. Full and narrows offered at the same time. 2 adjacent tiers, but remember they do have to be touching, like a gold and silver. HealthNet, so this is new for 2018, so I want to spend a little time on it. So with HealthNet, they have 2 portfolios in 2018. You see the Enhanced Choice portfolio. What we're calling out is this is how you can get a full HMO and all the full network PPO plan designs, along with everything else they offer. The second portfolio is going to be for groups that are located in Southern California, in particular LA County. So this is a plan offering you may want to offer for the clients in LA County. It still gets you the full HMO networks, but you lose a lot of the PPO offerings. You can only offer a full network bronze PPO and bronze HSA. So you lose the full network platinum, gold, and silver PPOs if you sell this portfolio. So when you're quoting HealthNet, again, or quote engine, you just can select the portfolio. It'll only show the plans offered in that portfolio to keep you out of trouble. But if you're in Northern California, you're going to be selecting Enhanced Choice. The groups in Southern California, you can seriously look at this. United Healthcare. They used to have 3 portfolios. In 2017, they went to 2 portfolios. In July, they went back to 3, and in 2018, they're keeping 3. So the 3 portfolios are Choice Simplified 1, Choice Simplified 2, and the multi-choice state offering. So what's the difference? With Choice Simplified 1, it gets you all the networks, full, narrow, side by side at one time. But it excludes the best of the best plan design. The Platinum PPO 1010 is not available through Choice Simplified. There is still another Platinum PPO available, it's just not the richest. You also lose the Bronze 6300 HSA plans. So if you don't care about the Platinum PPO 1010, sell the Choice Simplified 1. If you want the best of the best plan design, I recommend the Choice Simplified 2. Now, I'm assuming you're not looking for the narrow network HMO plans, because Choice Simplified 2 does not include this Alliance and Focus HMO networks and narrow network HMOs in Southern California. Get you the best plan designs for the Bronze 6300 HSA as well as the Platinum PPO 10, but you lose the Alliance and Focus narrow network HMO. So it depends on what the group wants, depend if you're selling 1 or 2. Now, the multi-choice state, we get lots of questions on this. The name is confusing to everyone. All United Healthcare is doing is they're trying to call out these multi-choice state portfolio includes the mirrored exchange plan designs that the carrier has to offer. They just put it over in a separate portfolio. And at one point, that's really all it was, but they really keep building it out. So you may want to look at the multi-choice state portfolio. It includes new plan designs, more offerings than it did before. And in 2018, it will now include some Select Plus, the full network PPO plans. So there's more networks available in Choice. My caveat is there's not as many plan offerings. And the Kaiser rule, which is very attractive with UHC, is different for this portfolio versus these 2. So on the Kaiser rule, it's the old traditional, they want a true 75% of the group to enroll with UHC if you're selling the multi-choice state portfolio. Up here, we'll talk about it, but we just need 5 in California alongside Kaiser for Choice Simplified portfolios. All right, plan designs. We just wanted to list the HSA offerings for the different carriers because a year ago, they really got restricted because of that odd deductible situation that we had. So Aetna's best HSA is a 4,800. We've talked about the Anthem. They do have that 2,000, 2,700, 4,000 family deductible. They have a 4,500 full network HSA. They have a 4,800 offering. I just want to call out that that is only through the Select narrow network PPO, so be aware of that. Anthem is continuing some plan designs that at the end of the plan name says RXC. No one knows what that means. And what that means is after you hit that combined medical and RX deductible on your HSA plan, then you only have an RX copay. It's not that you go straight to co-insurance. So these plans are technically, I guess, a little richer in benefit. That's what RXC means. HealthNet, like United, has that good plan design where you have that family deductible 2,700. United's plan we talked about. Why the multi-choice state 6,300 is outlined is because that HSA plan is only available through that 3rd portfolio, and again, the Kaiser rule is different for that portfolio. Now, a year ago, we did see EPOs coming back into the market, but of course, as I like to say all the time, is the different carriers handle EPOs differently. So Aetna and actually Anthem through CalChoice, not direct, they don't have an EPO direct, function one way, and then HealthNet and United function a different way. So what Aetna and Anthem's EPO through CalChoice does is it looks more PPO-like than HMO-like, meaning it's a very broad network. You do not have to choose a primary care physician, and you do not need referrals to specialists. The caveat is it's an EPO, so there's no coverage out of network at all. However, the HealthNet EPOs, called HSP, and the United Navigate EPO work more like an HMO. You choose a primary care physician, but it's not as restrictive as an HMO. They actually have some flexibility in referrals. So you choose a PCP, but you can self-refer to anyone within the HSP network. The United EPO, you choose a PCP as well, but your PCP can refer you to anyone in the Navigate network. So if my Walnut Creek PCP wants to refer me down to an LA Navigate specialist, he can do so. I don't have to stay within a medical group on this EPO plan. The caveat is the PCP has to go online and tell United Healthcare through an electronic referral that they're sending me down to LA. And then you see a few carriers have, Aetna and HealthNet meaning, have ACO offerings. All right, another conversation that comes up is we see that medical care costs are still very expensive. Insurance companies are trying to get a grasp on why certain providers charge more for the same service than others. So what they're trying to do is for providers that charge more than other options, pass that cost onto the member. So you can go there, but you're just going to pay more. There's one caveat to that. So what I mean is for Aetna, on some of their plans, if you go to a hospital-owned facility for outpatient surgery, they're going to have more cost sharing for the member than if you went to a freestanding non-hospital owned because it's cheaper. Anthem brand new has started this new program. So this is different from everyone else. What they're doing is if you need a CT or an MRI scan and you want to go through a hospital setting for this, they actually have to pre-authorize that nowadays. And if they feel that you could go to a freestanding facility versus a hospital facility for your CT or MRI, they're going to decline or deny that claim and say, can't do it here, just go to the freestanding for your CT or MRI. So that's a little different from everyone else. Health End is like Aetna. On some of their plans, they pass on costs to you if you go to the hospital-owned facility. And then United Healthcare as well. They have certain plans that do. Their Platinum and HSA plans do not. So again, their best plans, it doesn't matter where you go, but all the other plans, if you choose to go to a hospital-owned facility, they have what they call a per occurrence deductible, typically $250 they pass on to the member because they went to the hospital owned facility versus a freestanding. Last thing I want to talk about on this slide, it only applies to HealthNet, but we do want to call out, they have some plan designs that function a little differently than we're all used to in the industry, and it's always related to their narrow network or lower end benefit plans. So you can see the Community Care Bronze HMO, the Value PPO, and Enhanced Care PPO. They look like an HSA in the sense that they have an integrated medical and RX deductible. So you have one big deductible you pay first before you can go office visits as well as prescription drugs. The other thing is that deductible applies to all services except your primary care physician. So if you go to a primary type doctor, you're going to have a copay. If you want to go to your dermatologist, you have to meet your medical deductible first, and then it will go to coinsurance, not a copay. So that's different. So we wanted to call that out only on HealthNet and on their lower end plan designs. The next conversation is about infertility, chiro, and riders that the carriers offer. And again, all the carriers do different things here. You'll see that Aetna, for example, includes infertility in all their plans. Anthem has a rider, HealthNet has a rider, and United Healthcare has a rider on their HMO, but it's included on their PPO, so they're a combination. Chiro, same thing. Sometimes the carrier includes them on all their plans like Aetna and Anthem, but there's riders for some of the other carriers. And then you can see the riders that are available there. All right, so now we're talking about, for the most part, we lumped it under value add, but there's some caveats to this, just trying to put information on the data here. So for value adds, we want to call out Anthem has a new member value add, and I'm not sure if anyone's used this or not. I know some people in my office have, and it's called Pay Forward. So if you're an Anthem member, you can sign up for a program that do your normal shopping at 12,000 retailers like Amazon, Nordstrom's, etc. And you can get up to 15% cash back. You just have to sign up for the program ahead of time, and then when you're shopping, obviously let them know, that you want to apply that to Pay Forward, and then they can give you the money back. So that's a nice feature just for members, just a value add. CalChoice has always had their business suite solutions discount. So depending on the size group, depends on how many different services they get for free, but it's a wide variety of services. And United Healthcare, they have the fitness reimbursement that always gets a lot of attention, not new, but a reminder. If an adult member goes to a gym 12 times in a month, they can get $20 a month for working out, the employee as well as a spouse. So that can add up, some incentive to go to the gym. And then what's new for 2018 with United Healthcare, they have a new program called Real Appeal, and this is a weight loss program on PPO plans. So there's a kit that they send you, includes a scale and like a blender and all this information, and it's a whole program where you can get support to help you lose weight. Next topic is telehealth. So all of the carriers except HealthNet have telehealth, meaning you can go online with a webcam and talk to a doctor versus dragging yourself to an urgent care or emergency and having to wait there forever because maybe it's not as dire. It's just an easy way to have access to care. You do have to have a webcam. So everyone has that except for HealthNet. Now you will see something is listed for HealthNet, but I want to point out it's new for 2018, and Teladoc is only available on community care HMOs and enhanced care PPOs, which are their ACO type plans. So only on those plans. That's why I wanted to make it different. For what's new or this year in 2017 and 2018 is Aetna, Anthem, and United have actually, they're going back to the old school where they have house calls. They all use the same vendor named Heal. And if you're on a PPO plan with Aetna, Anthem, or United Healthcare, you can request a doctor. They should be at your house, assuming you're not living in the boonies. It's more the San Francisco Bay Area, the LA area where this service is available. The doctor will actually come to your house within 2 hours and, have given you an office visit, whether it's more of like an urgent care facility. The group can actually have that doctor come to the employer and to do like preventive health if they want to do that. So just a newer feature I want to call out. Did want to remind everyone, HealthNet still has grandfathered plans, and United Healthcare still has their ACEC Engineering Trust. It's a way to get composite rates for groups 1 to 100. The group does have to be have one professional engineer on staff. Just reach out to your sales team if you want more information on that. All right, now we're changing gears to pharmacy specific. So Aetna has a new formulary for 2018, so I want to make sure everyone knows. It's brand new for 2018. It's the California Small Group ACA formulary when you're looking on their site. The nice thing with Aetna is you're not going to have that poor member that shows up to the pharmacy only to finding out that the drug they've been receiving from Aetna for years is no longer on that California Small Group ACA formulary and they can't get the drug. They are not going to be able to get the drug going forward, but Aetna does allow a one-time fill to help in the transition, to give them time to go to the doctor and find a different alternative, or to allow the doctor to reach out to Aetna and prove that, no, we've tried other drugs, it doesn't work, so this member does need this specific drug, and they will prove that. With Anthem, no changes to the formulary, still select, and just want to call out that, yes, that is a smaller formulary than years past, prior to 2017, for example, but Anthem is still very good if the doctor reaches out. Most likely, the member, 83% of the time, can keep the drug they're currently on. Just the doctor has to reach out and, again, notify Anthem that they've tried other things or whatever, but it's a pretty easy process. With HealthNet, no change for the formulary that we're aware of. A unique thing HealthNet is doing for their narrow network plan designs, which are all listed here, is they're going to have 2 pharmacy networks. And basically, one includes Walgreens and one doesn't. So if you're buying one of these plans, the Community Care, Saluda Moss, Smart Care, etc., make sure your members know in 2018 they can no longer go to Walgreens. The pharmacies that are included are CVS, Walmart, Costco, Safeway, Vons, etc., just no Walgreens. United Healthcare, they still have 2 different formularies, whether you're a PPO member or an HMO member. So there's 2 different names here. They have in 2018, it will be different formulary than they had in 2017 on the PPO side. So be aware, it's called California Custom PDL. When you look on that formulary, it's very detailed. There's a lot of prescription drugs listed there. The HMO is more kind of like the top prescribed drugs. So I want to remind everyone that if you look on the detailed California PPO formulary with United and the drug is not listed, it's virtually impossible to get an approval from your doctor through United to retain that prescription. So please send those requests over to Beere&Purves. We'll do the lookup ahead of time before you move the group over to United, so there's no surprises after you've moved them. The HMO, again, only lists more of the top prescribed drugs. So if it's a United Healthcare HMO member, you look on the formulary, it's not there, come and ask us about it because it may be covered by United, it just might not be listed. The other talking point is the 90-day mail order program. So just pointing out that, back in the day, we always could get 3 months of a prescription through the mail and only have to pay 2 months. That's changed through the years, so just calling that out a little bit. Aetna still works that way on both the HMO and PPO. However, Anthem, the generic, you only get 2 weeks free, and brand drug through mail order, you actually pay for 3 months and you get 3 months. So be aware of that. A nice feature is you can go to the local retail pharmacy and get a 90-day supply now. You don't get a financial savings like 2 weeks or a month free, but you do get the convenience of not having to go in every month to get your prescription. Health Net, just calling out that on generic it's 2 times, but brand it's 2.5. And then United Healthcare, it depends. Are you HMO? Then it's still 2 times, but PPO is 2.5. Here's just the data on the PPO networks, and I'm not going to go through all the numbers. You can see them here. I just want to point out really one thing, and that is United Healthcare is unique. They offer the core PPO outside of California. We don't typically have a narrow network PPO offered out of state, but through United you could if the core PPO exists where that employee lives. So just reach out to us. We can work with you on that, but it's different, so we wanted to call that out. Here's the EPO listing, so you can see that. I do want to remind everyone that through CalChoice, the Anthem EPO uses the full prudent buyer PPO network that we all know and that works very well. And now there's that state law in California that went into effect in July, where if the member does the right thing and they go to an in-network hospital, but they get that surprise anesthesiologist, radiologist, or emergency room doctor that's completely out of network, there's some protection for the member where they're not going to get dinged by this huge out-of-network bill. It's going to be covered, and the state is working with those providers to determine what the correct amount will be. So there's a lot more safety net of selling an EPO nowadays as of July 2017. HMO networks, again, you can see all the numbers. The only thing I want to call out here is with Anthem in July of 2017, the small group full network HMO now matches the large group full network HMO. So you may have had some old large groups that became small group last year that maybe snuck into large group because they didn't want to lose their HMO providers, but now it's the same in small groups. So be aware of that. And a lot of news for CalChoice networks. So with CalChoice, a lot of actions going on in Santa Cruz County. You guys know Kaiser's down there now. Sutter Health Plus is now in Santa Cruz as well through CalChoice. Western Health Advantage has expanded their network footprint greatly in 2018 because they are going to have something that's called CANOPY Health, which I'll describe in the next slide in detail. But basically, Western Health Advantage has been predominantly in Sacramento, Sonoma counties. As of 2018, they're going to be a much more viable player in Marin, San Francisco, and the East Bay. Quick note, Western Health Advantage unfortunately is losing UC Davis as of January 2018. So if you do have any members with WHA, they're going to be losing their PCPs. If it's through CalChoice, the beauty of CalChoice is even off renewal, if you're losing your doctor, you can move to a different carrier, which would be UHC HMO or the Anthem PPO or EPO to retain your UC Davis provider. If you're with Western Health Advantage direct, not through CalChoice, you're stuck with Western Health Advantage. So if they lose your doctor, you just lose your doctor as well, unless you want to change carriers. But that's the beauty of when you sell CalChoice, you do get some more protection of network disruptions versus going direct to the carriers. The last thing here is the United Healthcare Narrow Network Advantage HMO also includes CANOPY Health, which is what I just mentioned for WHA as well. So you probably want to know what's CANOPY Health. So if you're in Northern California, you'll want to know about this new huge expansion or kind of agreement amongst a lot of the predominant carrier providers up here. So CANOPY Health is going to be a network. I think of it as like a huge mega medical group. A lot of providers, which you can see listed here, UCSF in the San Francisco, John Muir in the East Bay, Meritage and Marin, et cetera, have joined together to work together to kind of create a different answer to the healthcare problem. You know, Sutter and Stanford just every year ask the providers for a 30% rate increase. It's not helping our premiums. These carriers are trying to figure out a way, well, if we could work together to provide good quality care at a good price, and we have skin in the game and we get returned some of that being efficient as well as good quality, then it'll work for the provider as well as the insurance carrier and the member. So it's like an HMO plus, think of that. So what I mean by that is the member does choose a primary care physician in the Canopy Health Network, which again includes any of these medical groups up here. But if you need to go to a specialist, you're not stuck within a small medical group anymore. You actually have the flexibility to be referred to any of these medical groups. So for example, if my PCP is a John Muir Medical Group PCP in Walnut Creek, that John Muir PCP can refer me to San Francisco, a UCSF provider outside the John Muir network because I've signed up through Canopy Health. So it works a little different. There's a lot more flexibility as far as referrals. I get to a larger list of providers. There's going to be additional tools for members. They're going to have a cost estimator. So they're going to show the member, hey, if you go to this provider or that provider, here's the difference in cost so that they have a better buying decision. And they're going to have concierge service so the member can actually get care or get help walking through care when they need it, helping get referrals to the best places. So be aware if the group is interested in Canopy Health, and essentially anyone that already uses these doctors should be interested in Canopy Health. To get it, you would sign up with United Healthcare Direct, not through CalChoice, on the narrow network Signature Value Advantage HMO. Western Health Advantage is going to have one network. It's their full network. It just now includes all these providers, which is never included before. And then CalChoice will also have Canopy through Western Health Advantage, not United. So if you look at that, what you're seeing is this doesn't make sense. The member pays for a narrow network HMO through United or Western Health Advantage, which is typically very competitive, sometimes 20% less than other providers. They're paying less in premium. They get access to more doctors, and it's kind of a win-win. So that's why we have, in summary, the member can save on premium dollars, they get better access to more providers, and they get better quality service, the concierge service, the coordination of care, etc. So let us know if you have any questions on that. I know it's different, but again, it's a nice concept. Really, if anyone's already using these providers and they're buying United or CalChoice, they want to select Canopy Health. If you go on to, for example, the provider search through United, you find your primary care physician, it's going to list, do you want Hills Physicians or do you want Canopy Hills Physicians? And I would say sign up through Canopy because you get just more access to more providers. All right, now we're going on to underwriting. So we get a lot of questions all the time about startups. So the flexible carriers with startups are Aetna requires 2 weeks payroll. Anthem's been the king on this for a while now. They don't need any documentation prior to approval. They will approve a startup. You just have to give them 30 days of payroll after the group's been approved and within 45 days of the effective date. So this is really where we put most of our startups. CalChoice has always been great with 5 enrolled. They only require 1 week payroll, but they do need that payroll prior to approval. And then you can see Health and United are both at 6 weeks. DE9C, so the irony with ACA coming out is the carriers have gotten more flexible in underwriting. So they know that now that we have so much business for December and also January, how can we make underwriting go faster? And for the larger groups that we know are legit, that we don't need to make sure they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's. So with Aetna, if you have a group of 20 enrolled or more, they don't require any documentation ever. You don't need a D9C, payroll, prior care bill, legal docs, anything. You just have to give them the master app, employee apps and waivers, and money. Now that assumes they have prior coverage. With Anthem, this is a promo that's been going on for a while. If you have 6 enrolled, then you can give the prior carrier bill, not the D9C. So we need the bill, not the D9C for 6 enrolled. And they're pretty flexible with that. However, CalChoice, they too will do the same thing at 10 enrolled, but they make sure that there's no variance greater than 10%. So if you are enrolling a group and you give us a D9C with 10 people, but you have 7 enrolling, you're outside that 10% variance. So we would need the we would need the D9C in that point. We could just take the prior carry bill. Health Net, I want to call out for groups in Southern California. They have some flexibility in underwriting, which you can see here, but it only applies if the group's buying that enhanced care PPO portfolio. And remember, that doesn't get you the full network platinum, gold, or silver PPO plan. So yes, there's some flexibility with Health Net, but only for Southern California groups buying that portfolio. United Healthcare is extremely flexible as well at 10 eligible, not enrolled. So you can have a group of 10 eligible. They sign a participation certification form, of course, answer all the questions on the master app, etc. You can have 8 people enrolling and you're good to go. Okay, a couple notes on underwriting. With this huge volume in December, we've actually surprised to see some of our carriers get faster because they've kind of cleaned up some of their operations inside. So Anthem's always been great with implementations, and just wanted to call out that, you know, right now it's 1 day, actually pretty much hours for approvals, but also last December when they were once again back in the game, we were still at Beere&Purves at least getting 1 day approvals. And it does come with member IDs. We have EDI real-time feeds with Anthem. So when we give you your group number, you get the member IDs. Be aware of that. And the United Healthcare has drastically improved their implementation process from 18 months ago, which we're thankful for because they're writing so much business. But it's 3 days is the implementation time on average with United. They were getting 42% of our business last December, and we were still seeing on average 3 days, maybe up to 5 days. Now, United is a little different for different size groups. So I want to call out that with United Healthcare, a 1 to 2 life group could take longer than the 3-day average. And the reason is they're really looking at that and screening that group before the approval. So it might take longer because they're really going to audit the group before saying it's approved. They're also now requiring 1 to 2 life groups to only do the EFT payment option. They can no longer give paper checks. Groups 10 or more, as I said, with United, very simple. You've got that form you fill out, you get approved, you move on. Groups 3 to 9 with United, I want to call out that it's normal underwriting. We need D9C, we need payroll, we need legal documents, and we have a lot of brokers that say, oh, you know, the group can't find it, can you just submit it? Well, we can submit it to United for a 3 to 9 life group, and we're actually going to get an approval, but they audit the group after, and if afterwards they come back and say, we need payroll for this new hire and the group can't provide it, they will rescind that group. Again, that's with United Healthcare between 3 and 9, not 10 plus and not 1 and 2. With Aetna, we wanted to call out that they are still being very strict on submission deadlines. So you have to submit the group by the effective date. And I was surprised that last December they made no exceptions on that. So they're serious about that. HealthNet, new program for them. They are actually guaranteeing ID cards will be received by the group within 10 days within the approval. Otherwise, they pay the group $250. All right, participation. So alongside Kaiser is always a huge topic, and alongside Kaiser, some carriers are more flexible than others. You can see Aetna needs 40% minimum of 5 enrolled, whichever is greater. Anthem only requires 30% with 5 enrolled. That is technically through March 15th, but that's been carrying on for a while. So be aware in case that changes. HealthNet, again, has some promos, but it's only if you're buying that enhanced care portfolio, which is the LA County portfolio per se. United Healthcare is our best carrier outside CalChoice, of course, for alongside Kaiser. With United Healthcare, we just need 5 enrolled in California with United if you're selling the Choice Simplified portfolios. So you can have a group of 100 employees, 95 go Kaiser, 5 go UHC living in California, and they will approve that group all day long, no problems. With ACA, individual coverage started to become a valid waiver for some of our carriers. Aetna had that, but then stopped a year ago. Anthem, however, and United Healthcare still consider valid waivers on or off the exchange valid. Anthem is technically a promo, so be aware of that. And then out-of-state coverage. This comes up a ton because in California, you know, it's expensive to do business here, so we get lots of sales people for different carrier groups living throughout the US, and at some point you might find that the group has more outside of California than not. If so, UHC is your home. we need details, call your Beere&Purves sales rep and we can walk you through how we're going to write that group. Couple notes is if you have 51% eligible in any one state, we're going to write it in that state. But what we find is we typically don't have 51% eligible in any one state. Then it's very important to know who is literally enrolling in what state, and that's where we determine where we write the rates and benefits for that group. It does not matter where the group is headquartered at that point. Headquarters sometimes come into play, but vary at the very end. But just call your Beere&Purves sales rep, and we can help you with that. You, of course, the broker, need to be licensed in that state. All right, so the special open window, which is part of ACA, just a quick reminder because it only comes up once a year, this is a caveat in underwriting where groups that are upside down on participation or contribution can enroll with a carrier and the carrier cannot decline them. You have to enroll between November 15th and December 15th. It's always going to be effective January 1st. And these carriers do not like this program, so there are no exceptions. They will require you to submit all documents within that time frame, and if they can find a way out, they will. But as long as you provide all the normal stuff, then you can get approved. We do get lots of questions, however. A lot of groups want to offer Kaiser alongside the special open window, and if you're offering Kaiser, that knocks out a lot of carriers. The top row here. Aetna, Anthem, and CalChoice. If you say you're offering Kaiser alongside one of these carriers for a group through the special open window, they will not take the group. They say that this program does not apply to them in that situation. However, Health Net and United will let you sell Kaiser alongside Health Net or United for the special open window. We get lots of questions though, because people think, oh, for the special open window, all the rules are thrown out the window, and that's not true. Only participation and contribution rules are thrown out the window. The group still needs to be 1 to 100 ACA small group. The group also needs to have 51% eligible in California for this rule to apply. And you have to go to all those people not taking the coverage and get a waiver. So we can have a 100 life group, 51% in California, only one of the 100 are enrolling, but you have to get waivers for the other 99. So again, you can do it, no problem. It's just some work on your part. And again, the carriers don't like these groups, so they're not trying to make exceptions. With Health Net and United, again, they're the two flexible alongside Kaiser, be aware that they both state that they have the right to decline or actually non-renew the group, I should say, at renewal if they are now after not meeting participation. United Healthcare, says they have to take the group, but they don't have to renew the group. And we have seen 2 groups that we wrote a year ago that are not being renewed because they don't meet the current participation. What do? You just move to a different carrier at that point. A lot of work for coverage, but it's better to have insurance than not, correct? Okay, ironically, because the ACA community rating change with the dependent kids, we're getting lots of questions about, hey, my 1-1 group wants to actually move to December 1st, change their effective date to December to avoid the new community rating for children for at least a year. So yes, you may be able to do that. You can see here the rules. Aetna and Anthem always let you change your effective date. Now only once in a year. You can't just hop around all the time avoiding rates. CalChoice is a little unique though, so I want to call it out. CalChoice says approval is required, and you have to be wanting to do this to align other benefits, meaning you want to change to a 12/1 effective date because your dental is a 12/1 effective date. And they have a second piece to it that's a little confusing. They require you to be moving from one rating quarter to another. So for example, if you're a December 1st group and you want to move to a 1/1 effective date, which is typically the question we would get, that would be okay. But if you're say an October 1st wanting to move effective date, they would say no because November are in the same rating, so they would say no to that. Everyone will give you new rates and benefits when you make this change, so that's consistent with everyone. Some carriers have a letter they say submit. Other carriers like Anthem and United actually have forms they've created for this situation. Some of the carriers are stricter on when you need to submit this request, like Aetna wants 60 days, and that allows them time to get the group switched over, new ID cards, claims accurate, so they're not getting information from their old renewal and the new renewal date, et cetera, at once. Anthem just wants 2 weeks to process, however, and you can see CalChoice and United are 30 days. All right, January 2018 rates. So they're all available. As I alluded to at one point before, renewals are very low, except for those poor kids. You'll see what this rate action here means is from quarter to quarter. So from fourth quarter to January, first quarter 2018, how much those plans on average increased, or you'll see we still have decreases. Anthem's PPO plans decreased a little bit. Health Net HMO plans decreased a little bit. HMO with United decreased a little bit. Now these are statewide averages. The other thing is in the state of California, all of our carriers have to file their rates with the DMHC or the DOI. Those regulatory agencies have to receive the rates and review them, and sometimes they come back and say, okay, I'd prefer you to lower the rates, but they don't have an authority to force a carrier to do that. So they did do that with Anthem this January 2018 filing, but be aware, the Anthem increase actually was not high, and you can see it's low here, but the state came back and said, we would prefer that you lower your 2018 increase, and Anthem did that. United, however, the state did the same thing, but United said, you know, our increase isn't very much, and we need to charge the rate so we don't have huge renewals down the road. So they said no to the state. So they kept the filings. I mean, you can see the HMO is a decrease on average statewide. So, you know, it's hard to lower that when we know that they're already very competitive. So be aware of that. The year-over-year rate increase, we look at the plan design from 12 months ago to 12 months later and see what that plan increased or decreased to. So again, you can see very minimal. The top one is quarter over quarter. This one is year over year. So Anthem's, you know, went anywhere from a decrease to 8.8% increase. So this gives you an idea what the renewals are you might be seeing. And the last topic here is the new hire rates. This is not new, but a reminder, Health Net and both Kaiser directly, what they do is if you have a new hire, they look at the age of that employee when the group last renewed. So say they would have been 39 at the group's last renewal, even though they didn't work at the company at that point, they'll charge them a 39-year-old rate. However, all the other carriers say, well, if that new hire is 40 when they actually enroll with us, we're going to charge them a 40-year-old rate. Small group commissions, everyone's a flat 5%, even Cal Choice, this is the big news. They're the only carrier that was paying 6.5%. January 2018, they're moving to 5%, just like everyone else. Last topic here is we're getting lots of calls about these groups that went large group because they were scared and terrified of small group, and the large group renewals are very high this year, and I am hearing that the large group carriers for the most part aren't negotiating down. And the group really is 1/100 ACA. So just want to remind people that, you know, small group isn't as scary as it always sounds for every group. So it's something to consider. It's not going to work for every group. And again, the group is the size they are. But we do know that unfortunately a year ago, there were a lot of groups that said they were over 100 or they would be quickly over 100 because they had some new hires and they went large group segment. Just be aware that in small group, we have very easy participation alongside Kaiser. Again, you can have a group with United Healthcare and they just want 5 enrolled in California. I believe all the large group on average want 50% alongside Kaiser. The big difference there. The other thing is with that community rating that we all hate, you know, the carrier can't charge for health anymore, or they can't load if you're offering a full and narrow PPO plan anymore, and they can't charge different SIC codes rates. This all happens in large group. So groups could be getting a 40% increase with Anthem large group because they're not running well, and they can move to small group and not be dinged for their health with that group. So, and what I just covered on the other slide was that the renewals on average in small group are much lower. It's an average 5% is really what we're seeing versus the, again, the large group renewals with the different carriers. We're hearing anywhere from like 18% and the carrier's not moving off of that. Again, the group is what they are, but quote it and see, and the group might want to go small group if they really are 1/100, even though they may have attested differently last year. And again, situations change too. So that was all the information for 2018. Thank you very much for your patience. Quick reminders for fourth quarter, we are in November and definitely into the heavy to December new business change as well as renewals. So let us know how we can help you. We know you guys get very busy. Some quick reminders, nothing you don't know, but when you're working fast and furious, a lot of times some things get dropped. And we have a lot of groups that move from one carrier to another, and they forget about their poor COBRA or Cal COBRA members, and they never tell them that they're switching. So the poor member goes to the doctor 3 months down the road, finds out they haven't had coverage for 3 months, and then we have to scramble to get that COBRA person back on the plan. So be aware of that, as well as refill prescriptions. So you guys know that if you're getting close to that 12/1 effective date, please remind them, and they're getting low on the prescriptions, to refill it before 12/1, so they're not standing at the pharmacy on December 2nd, not showing up in the new carrier system. This is a new one we've added. Just a quick reminder, a lot of people do mail order, especially if you have a specialty drug and you're required to do mail order, and those drugs are very expensive. You need to remember to stop that delivery if you're moving from one carrier to another. I've been involved with an $18,000 claim that the drug was sent by the old carrier after the member left to a new carrier, and had to work with getting that reimbursed. So that was a fun one. Also, this has gotten better through the years, but once it's kind of slowed down, please take the time and really have the group person look at their bill to make sure that all the employees that are supposed to be on the plan are on there, and dependents, that everyone's on the right plan, the right network, and the employees should look to make sure that the PCP on their ID card is actually the PCP they wanted, because we've seen lots of errors for various reasons. Let us know, we can help you get this stuff corrected, but the sooner you bring it to our attention, the better. And then of course, once you do get that approval, you can always, please, actually not always, but please cancel coverage with the prior carrier. All right, last thing is just a reminder, please let us help you. Thank you very much for your partnership in your business. Hopefully you guys know that we're a trusted source, a great source of information, make your life easier so you don't have to call around various places, try to get answers. Call us once, we'll tell you the right answer quickly the first time. We've made some enhancements on our quote engine, especially if you do that multi-option report where you can put multiple carriers and multiple plan designs within one column. Now it's simpler and less data entry. You basically tell which plan maps to which plan up at the top, click a button, and then it will default to all the employees down below. We've also made all of our tools, or getting close to having all of our tools, customizable. So when you're on our website, if you use these generators, go into our underwriting rules, for example. Maybe you only want the Kaiser rule. You can say, I'm only interested in Kaiser participation with with Anthem and United, and just those two carriers, and just that answer will come up, and then you can quickly PDF that over via email to your client. You guys know that we can help you with eCentral. Please let us help you set those new groups up, and as well as a renewal. We have texting, which we do limit. We don't want to text you every moment of the day. Hopefully you remember us and we don't have to do that. We're keeping that limited to important rate changes, network disruptions, and legislation passing. So if you want to stay very current on information on those topics, let us know. We can text you. We do tweet every day, probably not as exciting as others, but it's because it's insurance. But it's also a good way to get a lot of these tips that we've gone through today as little reminders through the year. And if you ever want to, we do have a YouTube channel where you can look at our archived webinars. Last slide is in underwriting, especially right now, let us help you. We can help you with eCentral. We can set those groups up, as I said. We also have a subsidy. It's $1.40 per employee per month for the first year. So a lot of times this can pay for your subscription through eCentral for that month, and if we overpay you, we send the money to eCentral. It just rolls to the next month's subscription costs for you. And there's no cap to that. So the more business you give us, the more subsidy you get, and it has to be medical enrollment. Especially right now, we're seeing enrollment kits fly out of here. We can send the soft copy same day, of course, and we can have hard copy kits to you the next day. The reps will help you with unlimited enrollment meetings. We can get in translators for you. We have a Spanish enroller. And we do, again, have that real-time eligibility with Anthem, so you're going to get fast turnaround times through Beere&Purves with group member IDs. On average, all of our medical carriers are 2 to 3 day turnaround times. Even when it gets busy, we really are able to withstand that. So let us help you make sure that the group gets a good first impression for that new carrier. And then don't forget us. Once we have approved the group, we're always here for you, especially at renewal. When you're looking at other options, let us look at those provider and RX searches, especially those RX searches that have become so important as all the carriers have had changes to their formularies, and especially with UHC PPO not making exceptions. And then we can always help you with admin meetings, exceptions, adds, deletes, billing, claims, etc. So we're always here for you, and we can also set up the new groups and rates and contributions on eCentral. If the group stays with us and renews, we can still help you with that late work. All right, so that's all. I think I've gone pretty long, so I don't think I have for questions now, but if there are questions, hopefully you did type them in throughout, and we'll go ahead and respond to you via email, or we'll call you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much for your partnership. We really appreciate your business. Let us know how we can help you, and we will be sending a copy of this. But as I said at the very beginning, always just call us to make sure you're looking at the most current information, because the information is very fluid. Thank you very much, and have a great day.